Hi, welcome back everybody to Nerd Culture Clash, show where we start off talking about some of the interesting stories in comics, films, video games, movies, all that other kind of stuff, and we just end up wandering off on whatever freaking tangent comes to mind. As always, I am CBB. I'm here with my buddy Tom, the Immortal One Cummings, and we are joined also by Mr. George Peter Gatsis. What's up, George?
Greetings, everybody. Greetings. I'm here to do my one-word answers and one-word reviews.
Like Bruce Willis in the The Fifth Element. Fantastic.
Excellent.
What's up? Anyway, yeah. So we had a couple interesting things going on this week, but real quick, I'm just going to check in with you guys. What was your week like this week, Tom?
Oh, my week. God, what did I do? Oh, AJ's birthday party.
I wanted to go to that and I missed it.
Yeah,
had to work.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I didn't drink too much. Our mutual friend Trent really did. Trent was
he dropped a few things on Facebook talking about how much whiskey you drink.
Well, he's going on. So I'm sitting in the living room, went over to him, and he's like just sitting there texting, and he's like, "I'm evil." He's like, "I'm going to regret all this tomorrow."
Yep.
So,
but yeah, I missed that. I had to work this week. But how about you, George? What's good? What's new with you today, sir?
Well, I've been enjoying the pre-launch of my next book, which cool. Everyone, by my stats on Twitter, it looks very good. Everyone's tweeting about it, linking to it, doing all the right clicking, that is. And it's exciting. The next book, Joe King, saving everyone again for the first time, is a gag on what if the Wrath of Khan and Blues Brothers collided. Cool. And I have to add, I'm excited about the American politics, but I'm also excited about the Expendables. Good gosh.
Yeah, the Expendables comic book that Zach is doing.
Yeah, I mean
Zach.
Isn't that absolutely amazing? A Comicsgate creator comes in with a licensed Hollywood property of no other than Sly Stallone.
Sly Stallone actually came up with the storyline for it.
Dude,
it's gonna be batshit.
And he brings into the fold,
Chuck Dixon. Yeah, Chuck's the perfect guy to write the Expendables, man. He's working the Punisher.
Oh yeah, but what about the artist? Oh my gosh, the artist. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I forgot the artist's name.
Isn't it Aaron Alfecci?
Graham Nolan.
Huh?
Graham Nolan.
Graham Nolan, that's right.
Graham Nolan, the artist, and Chuck Dixon, the writer, the people who created Bane, have a project that is managed by your boy Zach, a true Comicsgate original, and it's real. It's a reality.
Yeah, it's doing really well too. Actually,
that's exciting. It's exciting to have a positive vibe. Just shoot everybody in the arm like a huge adrenaline rush.
Yeah, well, it's like they say, rising tide lifts all ships. But real quick, let me put it up here real quick. Share the screen. Expendables share. There we go. And it's at 60,000, and it's only been up for what, 3 days? So yeah, he's almost up to 1,000 backers now. And story by Sylvester Stallone and Chuck Dixon, art by Graham Nolan, creators of Rocky and Bane, tell an amazing story of supernatural. Okay, and here's the thing, man. A lot of people are going like, dude, like the Expendables in like a supernatural. It was like, dude, where else are they gonna go at this point? They've already killed everybody normal, and it's just batshit crazy. And it's like, and the artwork is really nice. The only question I had about this, man, was, where's Terry Crews at?
Terry Crews openly expresses his concern of not wanting to be attached to the franchise anymore. So they're respecting that. But everybody else, Sly Stallone has the rights and to the likeness of everybody that's in the Expendables. So you are going to get the characters. You're not going to get some sort of James Bond blah kind of look, because you can get Sean Connery or Roger Moore or Timothy Dalton to be drawn as James Bond.
Like they're instantly recognizable. I'm like that's definitely Randy Couture. That's definitely Jet Li. That's definitely Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, that's the quality of the artist.
He's really good, man. I remember when he was doing stuff back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you know what the funny thing is Terry Crews is like a huge comic book fan.
Oh, I know.
So if he knew about this, he might have been like, you know what? Go ahead and put me in the book, and then after that, you can take me out.
I'll dive in one more day.
Yeah, it's like because actually, I remember he was on a talk show. I can't remember what the name of the show was, but he showed some of his artwork because he actually wanted to be a comic book artist at one time. He's actually pretty good. But yeah, that was like I was like, oh man, where's Caesar, man? Because that's perfect. Like, and that would actually be a perfect follow up to this thing too. Is like, where's Caesar?
Yes.
Because of Ethan, but yeah, and then you got all these little side stories that they're gonna do. There's I think that was the first stretch goal, wasn't it?
Yep.
They're gonna do it's 50 page with 3 side quests. The
you know what's huge is the covers, the art. Your boy Zach's cover went right away.
Yeah, I love this play on the old Captain America cover. He's punching Hitler.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was pretty cool. I love that. And then you got Renzo Rodriguez cover. This is like a nice, cool, classic pose thing going on here.
Yeah, it looks just like a G.I. Joe cover.
Yeah, and that's exactly and that's what I'm like. This is the feel that I think this thing is going to go for. It's going to go for like a crazy G.I. Joe kind of story. But and then you got some sketching to do. That is totally Sly Stallone. 110% like. But no, dude, I saw this. I thought that's freaking awesome. That 60,000. That this thing's gonna. I think they said that this thing's on track. If it keeps going the way it's going, it's gonna break 200K easy.
Well, it'd be wonderful. It'd be wonderful to see, at some point, Ethan to jump in and do a cover.
If Ethan did a cover, that's like almost another guaranteed 20K.
Easily, and then just spread it out slowly. Get John Malin to do a cover. Wait a few days, maybe a week, and then Ethan comes in with a topper and says, I'll do a cover.
Yeah, and the thing is, like you see here, like the estimated shipping date is May. Zach's really good for hitting his dates, man.
Well, yeah, he's got multiple artists working, around the clock, so he's able to spread the love around. It's not a linear production, that's for sure.
Yeah, you got Billy Tucci's doing a book, doing a cover. That's awesome. I love Billy. Actually, I need to check in and see where she's at.
I think he's still hovering around the same numbers.
Is he?
Yeah.
Let me see here. I got the Grim Reaper John and Carla coming on Friday.
On that, check out Joe King, the book.
I think I have it marked here. Let me find it. Here, that's the Vampirella She. Where's the regular She? Do. The heck, man. I think some of them. I had a computer. I had a freaking virus. I had to kill on my system. There's She.
What's it at? I can't see the small numbers.
I'm getting there. Hang on a minute. It's a coming. He's a coming. Grim Reaper. Well, actually, if I actually clicked on it, it'd probably be better, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Shut up. Come on. You can do it.
There it is.
Yeah, he's at 71. Yeah, so he's getting ready to fulfill in March. So Cool. Yeah, he'll get a big jump right towards the end too. So I'm thinking he'll probably hit at least 80 before this is done.
Oh, and that's just on one platform, eh?
Oh yeah, dude. He launched it on Kickstarter too. I think he got something like 50K off of Kickstarter. 50, 60K on Kickstarter alone. So yeah, he's doing good with She. Billy's a good guy though, man. I really like him.
Totally.
And what happened to Joe King? I thought I had it saved in here. Maybe it was the pre-launch.
It's the pre-launch.
Okay. This is the original, or is this the current one?
That's the first one. That's not the pre-launch.
Okay.
Yeah, give me a sec. I'll give you the link in the private. Copy link.
Let's see here.
Okay. Here it is in the private chat.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Give me that. Copy that. Drop this up in here. Oh, what? Says, where did it go? What the heck? You know, I hate, that's the one thing about this site that it does this a lot, actually. Let me see. Let me put Joe King comic.
Okay, then let's just skip that and go right to the Twitter page where it shows you the art and individual links. I just put a new link in the private chat.
Okay. What the hell? Freaking Indiegogo. Okay, Indiegogo. It is taking a crap for me. See here. I wonder if that's got something to do with wow. Let me stop sharing it. Maybe that's having an effect on it. Paste. No, I'll have to figure out what's going on there.
Okay, that's fine.
It's being crappy, but anyway, we got some stuff to get into. We'll definitely take a look at the end here, man. See if we can't figure out what's up with that. But first, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the Blizzard stuff because that was freaking hilarious. Yeah, let me share this out. Share screen. Warcraft 3 Reforged, share. So, Warcraft 3 Reforged came out. Anybody who doesn't know anything about doesn't follow video games doesn't know the story. Blizzard recreated Warcraft 3. They announced it at BlizzCon last year. It was a huge thing. They showed this really awesome trailer. And they made all these promises about, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. We're going to add 4 hours of cinematic cutscenes. We're going to, add all new assets. We're going to add new storylines to some of the characters to flesh them out, to bring it more in line with World of Warcraft. Basically promising the moon. And the trailer went over big. It looked great. Then the game came out. And, it had almost none of the things that they were promising in it. So obviously the fans got mad, and then Blizzard did their usual thing. They basically just went silent. They didn't say anything. And a lot of people were really upset. And then a lot of shenanigans started happening where they tried to refund the game, and Blizzard wouldn't allow them to refund it. They said, well, you've already installed the game. You can't have your money back. Some people, and they were being really shady with how they were handling that. Like if you even downloaded the game and you didn't play at all, they were still saying, well, you downloaded the game, so you can't have your money back. Basically, they shut down the review of the refund process. Then some people started showing them as like, hey, if you go through the European server, blah blah blah, there's a way to get your money back. They started banning people for doing that. And then they started, and then fans, because there's no other way for them to get Blizzard to listen to them, especially nowadays, since they basically sold their soul to Activision. They started review bombing it on sites, and at one point it got down to less than 1%. I think it was down to like, they gave it like a 0.5, and it was the lowest reviewed rated game on. I'm trying to remember the site. I think it's Metacritic. I'm not sure, but it was the lowest reviewed game in history. And finally, they started listening, and a lot of people started. A lot of developers, a lot of other people in the industry started calling them on the whole not giving people their money back. They're like, "Look, this is, regardless of how you're feeling about it, regardless of the way that you've released this game, or how you feel about it, you can't stop people from. You can't refuse to give people their money back when they don't like the product. You have to do that. That's against the law." And Blizzard was actually in some countries have laws specifically that specifically detail these things, and Blizzard was actually refusing to give refunds in those countries where they're not allowed to do that. You have to abide by the country laws of the country that you live in. So eventually Blizzard basically were like, "Oh, no, we're sorry," and they turned the instant refund process back on. And then they came out and they released this, and this is probably the biggest half-assed apology I've ever read from Blizzard. And Blizzard's really been really good at doing this lately. It started, last year was terrible for them, man. They had the whole Blitzchung. I don't know, like if you ever watch the Quartering or whatnot, they had the whole Blitzchung Hearthstone debacle where they banned the guy for saying "Free Hong Kong." It was Blizzard is just they've just been crapping the bed lately. But let's get into this a little bit. So, and here's the thing: to the community manager, I understand that this is not your fault, guy. And to the development team, it really isn't their fault either. This is the fault of the bean counters. But hang on a minute. Some people have no respect for shooting schedules. But so before we get into this and before I give my feedback, let me know that I understand those people don't deserve getting crapped on. But what the hell? I'm gonna turn that damn thing off. Anyways, Hail War 3 players. We've been following discussions of the past couple of days and want to thank you for your feedback as well as your support. First off, we want to say that we're sorry to those of you who didn't have the experience that you wanted and would like to share our plans for what's coming next. The experience that you didn't want. Do you mean the experience that you sold everybody? The thing that you put a giant friggin' video up at BlizzCon and sold everybody on? That experience? Anyway. There were a few hours during launch day where we experienced server load issues that impacted player ability to jump right in. But we were able to resolve those later in the day, separate from the Basically, there's we had some server launch problems. We're sorry about that. That's fine. Before we go on, the team is excited that Warcraft 3 Reforged is finally upon us, and we're fully committed to supporting the game for a long time to come. This is an interesting statement because one of the things, like I said, that one of the reasons why they did a lot of the things that they did from the business end of this is they're trying to make sure that they don't have another League of Legends come out of this. So this whole idea of them being committed to this, it's an interesting statement because when the MOBAs all started coming out, League of Legends, when Dota first came out, and then League of Legends, Blizzard looked at that as being like, we lost a ton of money because of these things. Like League of Legends even today is still huge. It's gigantic. It's one of the biggest games in the world. And they tried to make their own version of that called Heroes of the Storm, and it just absolutely got killed. They don't even support it anymore. So they're basically all their decisions with Warcraft 3 were basically built around the idea of making sure that nobody else did that to them. And we're going to see some issues that came from that going forward. So they're saying that we're fully committed to supporting this game. Is basically they're saying we know that everybody's refunding all their money and getting all their money back, and a lot of people are not going to play this game. They're basically trying to make sure people that are playing the game, they're going to like, look, we're not just going to abandon you like we did the Heroes of the Storm guys. Separate from that, we've seen community feedback about different aspects of Reforged that we wanted to take some time to address before we go on. The team is excited. The next few patches and updates we'll just discuss below are part of our ongoing plans. This game is an integral part of Blizzard's DNA. Yada yada yada. We love Warcraft 3. You know, basically they're culping themselves a little bit here. One of the concerns with Reforged that we've seen are the visuals when selecting classic mode. We've identified the bug causing the colors shift. So some of this is just technical stuff. They're going through saying what they're going to fix. There are some, and then they come down here. Another area of concern we're seeing is regarding online features such as leaderboards and clans, which applies to all Warcraft 3 players, including those who haven't purchased Reforged. At BlizzCon, we talked a lot about how the team is actively working on standing up the back end to ensure a smooth transition to a new MMR system, much like we did with StarCraft Remastered. As with Remastered, these features we included a major patch for Reforged. Basically, they're saying some of the stuff that people are upset is gone. We're going to put that back. The problem is that stuff should have been present from the beginning. Okay,
should have just carried over.
Right. If you have these things already, you can't take them away and then put them back in later. The other thing is they don't give any kind of a release date for this thing. It's like this patch to put this stuff back could be a year down the road here. They're being very obtuse with this. Let me go back to it here because I just clicked off of it. Okay. There are some individual concerns that we've seen that we are not currently planning to address. Now, this is the big thing right here. Basically, they're saying some of your concerns we're going to take care of. Some of them we're not. And when we give the community a heads up, as of version 1.3 of the original game, we saw very low usage of tournaments in the Reign of Chaos rule set. So we removed both in mid-1920. That said, we do appreciate that players who prefer Reign of Chaos will find custom games with similar rule sets, which we hope will hopefully satisfy that concern. That's a problem for some people, though, because finding custom games, people aren't going to be making as many custom games now because of the rules that Blizzard came out with, saying
you can't
any content you make is ours. Basically, they did that, and they put that rule into place because they don't want another League of Legends coming out of this game. They don't want somebody else making money or making something off of what they've created. So they're basically the rules that they've put into place to prevent that. It's going to choke off the modding community. People aren't going to be making as many custom games and stuff because of like, why am I going to make stuff just to give it to you? So that's a concern right there. Related to that, we talked about last year at BlizzCon. We did not want the in-game cutscenes to steer too far from the original game. We went a little deeper into the thought process behind that at the show, but the main takeaway is that the campaign tells one of the classic stories in Warcraft history, and we wanted to preserve the true spirit of Warcraft 3 and allow players to relive those unforgettable moments as they were. This is bullshit. This is just flat out bullshit. Albeit rebuilt with new animations and higher fidelity art. What happened with this is 110% a bean counter thing. Basically, they're like, it's going to cost us money to make these cutscenes and to put the animation in there, because when you do look at the few cutscenes that they do have, they were going to have to make all new models to do these cutscenes, these cinematic cutscenes, because the models that they're using are in the cutscenes right now are from the game, or the actual game models, and they're way too stiff. The animations are way too stiff. If they really wanted to do cinematic cutscenes on the level that Blizzard is known for, they would have to make entirely new rigs. And George knows a lot about 3D and stuff like that. That stuff takes time and it takes money.
Yeah, while the effort in rendering is super fast now, and most of the effort is in taking low poly assets and bringing them up to snuff, so to speak.
Right.
That does take time. Technically speaking, they could have the animation of the characters saved. They superimpose a high poly count geometry onto the existing assets, but even that is not 100% accurate, and they have to go in and fix the problems before they hit render.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of steps that have to be done.
Quite a few.
Real quick, I got a post. SpongeBob SquarePants watching from Florida sub. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. But yeah, this is 100% a money thing. Like that decision to take that out. This whole thing with them talking about like we wanted to preserve the original gameplay, and I was like, that's total bullshit because you guys were talking about this from the beginning. You know, this was like, you know, when you were literally talking about creating new storylines to add to the game to flesh out some characters that weren't as big in Warcraft 3 as they are in World of Warcraft. Jaina Proudmoore and Sylvanas were the two big ones that they mentioned. So this speaks of disingenuousness. This is just absolute BS. But again, we know this update doesn't address all questions, but we're committed to the development and support of this game. Again, that we're committed to the development and support of this game. They're afraid that people are going to abandon this game, that the number of people playing this game are going to go down so much that they're going to have to spend more money than they're going to make to keep it up. And a lot of people they know what happened with Heroes of the Storm. They're like, look, if this game doesn't bring them money in, they're just going to walk away from it. So why should we even bother to start playing it? We hope you'll keep an eye out for this week's patch and future updates and let us know what you think as we continue fine-tuning. Until then, thank you as always for your support and passion for Warcraft 3. We appreciate your feedback, and we'll continue to keep the Warcraft 3 community up to date on everything we're doing. The lack of real communication that came out in this thing is total. This is the kind of double speak and jargon that Blizzard puts out now. For instance, and the fact that they put this out and they didn't have any real information in this thing. It's basically saying, hey, we're putting some patches in there. But they actually came out and said that a lot of the stuff that you guys wanted that we said was going to be in the game, that they're still advertising. If you go to the advertisement for Warcraft 3, you see that those cinematic, those one of those cutscene cinematics. You see one of those being advertised on there. You see them saying we're going to increase storylines and all this other stuff. They're being disingenuous here. They're basically saying, the truth is, they're like, we cut some corners, and we thought we could blow this past you guys. Obviously, the development team has actually come out, and there have been some back channel talk with some of them. And they're like, yeah, we didn't want to do this. They made us do this. And this is typical of Blizzard as they are right now, which is the reason why their stock is taking a massive nosedive. The whole situation with BlizzCon, where they basically knelt down to China and they sacrificed that player and the podcasters, the guys who were broadcasting that transmission from the Hearthstone tournament, they didn't even know the guy was going to do that. But they suspended those guys for a year because China didn't like it. And this is basically the business end of Activision stepping in and killing what used to be an awesome company. So I just found this interesting, as like I used to play World of Warcraft. I used to play a lot of Blizzard stuff. I don't anymore. It was, I kind of hoped against all hope that they were going to change a little bit, that maybe the backlash that happened with BlizzCon and the negative response to Battle for Azeroth would maybe make them try a little harder, but apparently not. And I sound like an old man on his porch yelling for people to get off his lawn.
Get off my game.
I mean, it's, I don't want to be negative, man, but sometimes shit just happens and you're like, this sucks. But it's a big story right now. A lot of people, and yeah, I would say go watch The Quartering. There's a couple of really good channels that cover this. The Quartering is a good one. Bellular is a really good one. Go watch. They dive into this a lot deeper than I do. I'm just looking at this as a fan who I was really actually looking forward to this game, and I'm glad I didn't pre-order it now, because if I had and they tried to screw me over on this thing, I would have went ballistic and lost my shit. But yep, that's the way it is. But what do you guys think?
Well, anytime you do that, I mean, it basically is a bait and switch. You know, hey, we're going to have all this nice new stuff. We got promos for it. Look, see, here's what it's going to be, and then it's not, and then you like, well, you already bought it.
Yeah, like we got your money, so what do we care?
Right. And then yeah, it's always amazing. You know, every time this happens, people are like, wait, you wanted what you paid for and what we said we were going to give you, and we didn't, and you're mad? What?
Yeah. It's like,
yeah, of course,
hey, man,
they're mad.
it's the same game. It's got some of the stuff we said you'd have. You should be happy. You should be happy with what we gave you. And it's like, screw you, man. It's like you said it was going to be this. That's like saying, I'm going to give you a freaking steak and then somebody hands you a hamburger. Be like, piss off.
They hand you an impossible burger.
Yeah, chock full of estrogen.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that the one that's not the one that's black? That got the black bun, is it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely sick how people would actually create such an abortion upon our culinary diet.
Hey man, it's what are you gonna do? But yeah, I just like the thing that gets me is going in and looking at some of the comments that some people have made, and they're just like and it's literally one of those things. It's like, they were like, you should be happy with what you've got, and I'm like, no, that's not how this works.
That's not what I paid for.
Yeah,
but they haven't made anything better than what you got.
Well, it's not even that. It's that you said you're going to do this, and then you did this. I didn't pay for this. I paid for this. So, real quick, Yul Carter said, "Hey, Bob, checking in as I check in and order." Okay, that's Yul Carter. He's one of the co-hosts on the Wrestling Council with me on Thursdays. Good dude. Owns a comic store, knows a lot about comics. Check his channel out. Good guy. But yeah, that argument where there's people like again, they're doing the whole, you're a bunch of man babies, you're a bunch of entitled people, blah, 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 blah. I'm like,
yeah,
it's not what they paid for. Why are they not allowed to be angry when it's not what they paid for? I don't understand that mentality, that lemming sheep mentality, that it's like Blizzard's not going to screw you, okay? You keep kissing their ass. They're not going to hire you. They're not your prom date. It's such I don't understand this idea of keeping your mouth shut when what you promise is not what you get. I don't understand that mentality. But speaking of man babies, so some interesting things came out this week about Star Wars. A little bit interesting. I thought it was interesting. I don't know if you guys have seen this or not, but apparently George Lucas commissioned some test footage to be done for the idea of the Star Wars series that he was going to do after the prequels. And we're going to take a look at that and kind of just see what a lot of people are like they're gushing about this thing. So I'm interested to see what's up with it. Have you guys seen this yet?
No, I haven't.
Yes.
Hopefully the logo being over it will keep us from getting a strike. And this is the thing. This is George Lucas basically trying to sell them being able to create entirely 3D environments. So all the environments here are 3D.
As far as I understand it, this was done before he sold film.
Yeah.
And they were toying with one of the reasons why he sold Lucasfilm is because they looked at the landscape going forward, and they said, "There's no way we're going to be a dying market. The future is in streaming. The future is in TV. The future is in the home."
Mm-hmm.
and that's what and that's what it seems to be where it's going. There
Yeah.
right now, I would say within the next 5 years they will have a feature run movie. They'll have it in the home now. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it. You sit back on your big screen TV with your family. You don't have to worry about parking. You know, the huge food prices, all those expenses, and you would actually watch your first run movie. And they experimented with this with Steven Spielberg's model a little
Yeah.
while ago. I think it was like 8 years ago.
Yeah, this is the interesting idea of when you look in here. I mean, obviously, some of these set pieces they're cobbled together, but the way it's being shot, it's like they're trying to translate the medium of Star Wars to a television show, where you get those long pauses on people's faces and stuff like that. You don't usually get that in film. You get that in a lot in television. But just the idea that almost all these environments are CGI. And compared to today, I mean, it looks decent, but and again, this is just test footage. But this makes me wonder if they're gonna, now that this is coming out there and a lot of people are talking about it, if maybe they're gonna go back and revisit this. But there's a lot of themes in this that are interesting too.
This test footage is
Right here, like real quick, what this guy says here. This is one of the interesting things I was talking about. Like, listen to the language that he uses here. They've never used words like that in Star Wars before, where like you have the Imperials referring to them as terrorists. You know what I mean? So this is like themes like that. I don't know if you could actually do that in a Star Wars show today, because I think they'd be a little too sensitive about it. But then, like the idea, the whole idea behind this series, my understanding is that it was supposed to deal with the underworld on Coruscant. So it's interesting, like, these are. Like, that's a car bomb, dude. That's like a terrorist thing. So this is like this is trying some territory that I think would be a little sensitive today. He's awful close.
They're stormtroopers. And again, this is like, you got to remember, this is proof of concept, but the Wilhelm scream. And then they do a whole thing where like they do a making of it, and you see like everything was CGI, almost everything. This is remember when Lucas had that like massive order for CGI for the prequels. He was trying to put that out there, but you also have to remember that this is back before Game of Thrones. This is back before The Mandalorian, back before they had shows where they're like, you could spend $1 million per episode and it would still be profitable. So I guess when he put this, he shopped this to them, they were all super interested, but they're like, there's no way we can afford this.
So that was the idea behind it. But I just found it like interesting, like the themes that are in it were like this is dark, man. This is dark stuff. So I was just kind of interested where it was going to go from there. But what did you guys think? I mean, do you think that would have been a cool series to do, or?
Well, I mean, it looks interesting. Like most things like this, it really depends on where the writing goes with it. I mean, is it going to be a single continuing story following someone? Is it going to be an ensemble kind of thing? Is it going to be like each season is going to be a different aspect of something? You know, if it's just like the underworld of Coruscant, sure, they're going to deal with rebels sometime, or is it just going to be like the rebels and their dealings in the underworld of Coruscant? So, I mean, it looked good for a TV show.
Yeah. From my understanding, it was supposed to deal with it was supposed to be a continuing story. There was going to be, it was supposed to focus on the most powerful underworld family on Coruscant. They were supposed to be the main core of the story. I don't know. That's just one report I was getting. But what do you think, George? I mean, did they miss out on something, or?
No, I'm excited. This seems like the 1313 work, and like I said, George Lucas said, there's like 50 some odd scripts fully fleshed out and ready for this. I'm also excited that to see the production in action, which takes a lot of the James Cameron style of filming on a green screen, blue screen, which means they will be able to put out more shows a lot quicker with less hands-on visual effects, because the visual effects are burned into the shots.
Yeah.
And they're ready. And I mean, they're doing real-time rendering right now, real-time high-res finished rendering. So what that tells me is that the computer time, the processing time to get a production done quick is very short. No pun intended. And at the same time, it means the quicker the production, the cheaper the cost. The cheaper the cost, the more they're able to produce more shows, or spend more time on the show to do a little more polish in the story, a little more polish in the visuals and stuff like that, in terms of adding more content.
Yeah, what this kind of reminds me of, like as far as like what they could do with this. This kind of reminds me of like an updated version of Babylon 5. You know, where Babylon 5 was almost entirely CGI. You know, I mean, and Grant, like, well, not entirely, but a lot of it was CGI, and then they had some main sets they would constantly use, but a lot of it was computer generated. So this kind of feels like the next step in something like that. And I love Babylon 5. Like me and Tom both, we were huge Babylon 5 fans. So if they kind of went with something along that line where you have a familiar setting, so you don't have to keep rendering new assets, you can just keep using the same ones, but they're going to be on the level of, you know, of what they can do with CGI today. This could be a really cool show. And considering how much traction that this video has been getting, how much they've been, a lot of people are talking about it, how much interest there is in it. I wouldn't be surprised if they snatched it up.
There was more Star Wars in this than the last 3 movies.
There's a lot. I mean, the cool thing too is that they said that they actually got professional actors to do all the stormtroopers. So this wasn't just like people walking around. They were committed when they made this test footage to show them what it would be like, what it would really be like to do this show. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was cool, man. I dug it. I mean, I'd be interested in a show like that. I mean, I don't know how Star Warsy it would feel, because you're dealing with you know, the underworld. But one of the other things that they were also saying too is that Boba Fett was supposed to be a character.
Yeah, yes, he is, and he'll always be a character. You know, he's already in the first episode of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I saw that. Thing, that little hint.
That was awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, because this actually is supposed to take place between episode 3 and episode 4. So Fett's still running around, and considering it's an underworld thing, obviously he could be a character, and all the other you could do all the other characters. You could do Dengar, you could do IG-88, Bosk, all those guys. But this kind of reminds me of because one of the ideas that they were shopping around was to do a bounty hunter show. This kind of sounds like they're taking that and kind of combining it with this other idea as well.
The thing is about the Wilhelm scream that you said.
Mm-hmm.
Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy went out of their way to remove it from the Disney Star Wars trilogy.
Well, yeah, they said that they're not going to use it anymore. It sucks. I'm like, it's part of it.
It's such a minor thing. It speaks volumes to everyone that loves the cinema.
Yeah, dude, they put the Wilhelm scream in Star Trek, in one of J.J. Was it the Star Trek Into Darkness? They actually had that in there, man. I was like, why would you take it out? I don't think it's J.J. Abrams that's really pushing to take it out. I think it's more a thing with her, and that's like I've had that discussion with other people about her. Here's the problem with Kathleen Kennedy. She's a really good executive. All right, she's got a really good track record of being an executive. She's not a creative. She's not a creative person. And the problem with her right now, with her when she went to Disney, is she was trying to be George Lucas. And she's not. She can't be. She's not the creative. She's not a creative type of person. She needs to bow out of it, just like Bob Iger did with the Marvel films. Bob Iger kind of stuck his nose into the Marvel films in the beginning. And Kevin Feige and Jon Favreau kind of took him aside and said, listen, you gotta knock that crap out. You're a great executive. You're a good businessman. You don't know what the hell you're talking about when it comes to being creative. So step off.
You're being too kind to Kathleen. She is the world's greatest coffee maker.
Yeah, it's but like I honestly think like if you would hope that that's where they're going to go with this, because obviously Jon Favreau has stepped in. Kevin Feige, whether depending on what reports you believe or not, he's now Kevin Feige is going to end up running everything. I'm going to tell you that right now. He's going to end up running the whole damn show. But there's a lot of talk that he's actually now kind of in charge of the entire Star Wars Marvel thing. He's 100% in charge of everything Marvel, like everything, including the comics, is now his. But I'm telling you, I get the feeling that he's going to end up being in charge, or Favreau's going to end up being in charge. Because Favreau went in there with Mandalorian and just killed it. But yeah, I mean, I saw this. I thought this was a cool story, and I'm actually really interested in where they go with this, because, like you said, Lucas was seriously legit about this show, and he did a lot of the pre-production planning for it. So it wouldn't be that hard for them to step in and just continue on from here. But okay, so we got that up there. So next up, we got some comic book stuff. Tom, I'm going to go ahead and let you jump in here, sir, and you can go first.
Alrighty. Finally got done reading this, the Vox Machina prequel.
Dungeons and Dragons.
For those of you not familiar, this is the people from Critical Role, the people that do their live D&D broadcast every Thursday. Over there on Twitch.
God, you freaking boomer.
Anyways, it's from their season 1 D&D story that they did. So it's got all the original characters there. You got, can't do this with my finger. Got Grog, I forget the name of the dragon, but Vax and Vex, Scanlan, Caliph. This is the first of the graphic novels. I guess it's they're going to do an ongoing series or some other stories along with this, but it's basically all how they met, how they got started. I was talking to another friend that apparently these are either before they started broadcasting or when they were still like doing it from their kitchen before they actually really before the whole thing really took off. So
yeah, it was before they were actually streaming it. This is because when they started streaming it, they'd already been playing for like 3 years.
Yeah, because it's their backstories. I said this one is just about how all they met, because there are actually 3 different groups. Oh, sorry, Tiberius. It just occurred to me that's the name of the Dragonborn.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Tiberius Stormwind.
But it's a story of how they met, the first adventure. All 6 of them were 2 each in separate groups that were all kind of involved in the same storyline, and then the 6 of them all ended up as one group at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a cool story, nice. And of course, reading it, I now have their voices in my head, so
Yeah, that's
everything with visual is.
Yeah. Dude, I love Grog. Dude, I was actually watching. Because I'd never finished it. I was watching the second part of the Search for Grog, because they had the Search for Grog one shot.
Yeah,
and then they did the Search for Bob, which was the one that was after that. And I was actually watching that. Dude, I miss that character so much because he's freaking hilarious. But yeah, like if you're into Dungeons and Dragons, it's the kind of book you're gonna want to read. It's the kind of thing you're gonna check out. If you're not, probably not.
Probably not your cup of tea then.
But and then you got one more, man. You got
got one more. Got a nice big thick ass brick here. Fred Perry, once again. If you've watched the show, I love this dude.
Gold Digger,
Fred Perry does great work.
All the Weebos are gonna love this one.
Yeah.
Is it Weebo or Weebo? I don't know, man. I'm old.
But anyways, yeah, this is one of the bricks that they came out with. This is like all the special editions, side stories, all the Halloween specials, the Christmas specials, the Edgeguard Tangent. It's got 2 Peebree stories in it.
Peebree?
Peebree. It's Brianna, the little AI.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are Preebies. Or Peebrees.
Peebrees.
And then it's got a bunch of the Gold Digger minus 18. The stories from when they were little kids growing up and some of their misadventures. Yeah, it's good stuff if you're a Gold Digger fan.
So for anybody who doesn't know anything about Gold Digger, give them like the quick elevator pitch, man.
Okay, let's see. Get the thing here. These are 3 sisters. These are the Digger sisters, although none of them are actually sisters. This is Gina. She is a super intelligent archaeologist, and then her adopted were-cheetah sister,
Brianna.
It's Gina.
It's Brianna, isn't it? Brittany.
And then Brianna is the genetic clone that is literally half of each of them. So she is literally in between her 2 sisters. They live in Atlanta, Georgia. They go off on big adventures. There's dragons. There's time travel. Usually time travel stories get really messed up, but considering he's been, writing this for like 20 years.
Yeah.
He's kept a tight ship on it. He's kept all the time travel stuff.
He does a lot of parody books, like everything, Star Wars, Transformers.
If it's pop culture, it's in Gold Digger.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's Star Wars, Transformers.
Elvis.
Well, in one of the books is one of the books in this is the first appearance of Spelvis.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is one issue that was particularly interested because it was a parody of Star Wars and My Little Pony combined into My Little Tauntaun and The Thing, all wrapped up into one storyline. You're like, and he pulled it off. So.
Well, it's usually everything usually just evolves into them like fighting or blowing everything up or
lots of explosions.
So it's kind of a dirty pair little taste to it. It's
not as much death as the
not as much.
pair.
Not as much. It's very cartoony, but it's there's a whole lot of like basically like, well, we screwed everything. We'll just blow up the planet. But no, I like Gold Digger. I always have, and getting in that if it as far as just being cost effective, man, those giant bricks like that are like that's the best way to pick them up. But cool.
Yep.
All right. I am doing a review of Ruins of Ravencroft. So let me throw up a quick thing here. Get a look. All right. Share that. Okay, so this is so Ruins of Ravencroft. Basically, the idea is every comic book universe they have prisons and whatnot. Like DC's got Arkham Asylum, they've got Blackgate Prison, they've got Bell Rev. Marvel has the Raft and Ravencroft with the Ravencroft Institute. And what they've done is they basically resurrected that whole thing. You've seen Ravencroft every once in a while. But what they're doing is this miniseries is basically they're making Ravencroft into the Marvel version of Arkham Asylum, and this is basically telling the story of how Ravencroft came into being. These four, it's actually a miniseries, but they released them as one shots. These individual one shots, like there was one was Carnage, one was Wolverine, was not Wolverine, one was Sabretooth. One was Dracula, and each one of these is like each one is progressively tells the story of the creation of the asylum, as well as its history. And then as what they've done is they've actually done a pretty good job of weaving Ravencroft through the comic book history of Marvel by connecting them to these modern characters like Carnage, because Ravencroft, like the story actually starts off in the 1700s. And it's about Cletus Cassidy's ancestor. And I don't want to go too much into the story because I don't want to give too much away, but it's basically kind of toys with some of the classic tropes of horror, where the idea of the ground is bad. You know what I mean? Kind of like in Pet Sematary. You know, when they said like the ground is bad, like it just attracts evil. There's something bad here. The ground is bad. And the other thing, and the way they kind of tie these into each of these characters is kind of interesting. In the first one, they tie in the fact that Cletus Cassidy was always destined to be insane. It's basically it's like a curse that's been placed on his family line, his bloodline. He was going to be crazy no matter what. He never had a chance. Like this guy was screwed from day one. And but also interesting is that it tells the story of the guy who builds Ravencroft. And as he's going through, and he actually interacts with characters through the different stories that that actually makes sense that they would be part of this. Like one of the characters that he interacts with is Nathaniel Essex, and anybody who's a comic book fan knows that Nathaniel Essex is the human name for Mr. Sinister, who is a geneticist who performs experiments on people. And that's basically what he does. It's almost like a Dr. Frankenstein kind of thing, where the one doctor who created the institute and running it, he suspects something from Essex, but he doesn't really have the proof of it because it's that time, that time period. It wouldn't be proper for him to, accuse him of things like that. But then you see that he's tormenting these people. Like it's evil, but but again, it goes back to the idea of why was he attracted to this place in the first place? Well, it's because this place is evil. And so there were four books individually. There was the Carnage book. Whoops, nope, wrong one. Too many buttons. Let me show the other one here. There was that one. There was this one, which was and then the main characters of the book are basically Misty Knight, John Jameson, Jack Russell, Mr. Fantastic shows up as well. A couple of other characters and the Kingpin, because they're basically what's happening is the overarching story is they're reopening Ravencroft. They're rebuilding it, they're reopening it, and they find something in the basement. They find basically the torture, the illegal experimentation section that was part of what Nathaniel Alexis was doing, what Mr. Sinister was doing, and other people as well. So they're basically trying to figure out what's going on in this place, and they come to realize that there's this mystery that needs to be solved down there. So there was the Jack Russell, the John Jameson issue. There was the Sabretooth issue. I'll throw the cover up for that. Artwork on the covers were really cool.
That's so probably looking pretty good.
Yeah, they have the Sabretooth issue, which got this one. This one was one of the ones that I was kind of iffy on because it's not really about him. It's about the Doctor and some other characters in there. But Sabretooth is there. He's actually he's the evil orderly, you know? And but one of the interesting things that came out of this was have you guys seen the trailers that they just released for all the Marvel shows that are coming out?
No.
Okay. You need to go ahead and check that out when you get a chance to, man. Because they show a clip of the Loki TV series. And one of the things that's and what it is Loki is in this, he's either in a prison jumpsuit or it's either a prison or an asylum. He's locked up. And the thing that he says in there and the way he's acting in there, it actually kind of feels it's very similar to something that happens in this series. He's actually in Ravencroft. He's actually incarcerated because he says he's Loki. He says he's the son of Odin. You know, obviously they're going to put him in an asylum. But the thing is it seems like he's just there because he's joking. He's having fun. You know, it's almost like he's just there because he can leave it because he literally is like, you know, I'm going to leave in a minute. He's talking to this doctor and he's basically mocking this doctor. And and he's like, I'm going to leave in a minute and you're going to be completely stunned, you know, wondering how I did this. And that's what literally happens. Like he just 1 minute he's there and the next minute the doctor is locked up and Loki is outside waving at him through the window. So it's like, yeah, but it looks like that they're actually lifting some stuff from this book for the series or vice versa. Because like I said, Kevin Feige is in charge of everything now. But
there's a little sprinkle everywhere.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that in there. Then there's the let me see. Did I have the Dracula one? I do have the Dracula one. Let me go ahead and kill these. I'll kill that. And I'll put the Dracula one up. And then this was actually the weakest of them, in my personal opinion, was the
Dracula.
Was the Dracula. Yeah. Cover looks cool because that's another thing too. George and I were actually talking about Wolfman's run on the Tomb of Dracula back in the 70s, which is a great run. And this is the classic look that Dracula had, right, George?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And if you've kept up on any Marvel comics recently, they changed his look drastically. He looks like some weird, almost elven. He's got long white hair and he's got this red armor.
Well, all that description is actually closer to the original description in the novel.
Mm-hmm.
Old white hair, color red, all that stuff.
Yeah, well, he's not, but he's not old. He looks like I said, he almost looks like an elf.
Yeah. That's just them trying to put their spin on it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a cross between the original description for him in the book, like you said, and the look that he had in Bram Stoker's Dracula, that movie, because he's got that weird red armor. Yes. But this is the classic version of Dracula, and this is actually the version I like. And And it's cool that it is cool that they kind of went back to this version for him in this series, because one of the things I'm hoping is that this is going to be a resurgence of Marvel's horror line, because Marvel used to do some really good horror comics. And I'm kind of hoping that that's what this book is going to do. This book is going to be kind of like a modern version of Midnight Suns, which Midnight Suns was the big horror title that they did in the 90s with along with the Darkhold Redeemers, the Night Stalkers, Ghost Rider, all those characters. And I'm kind of hoping that that's what we're going to get with this. That this is a move towards the resurgence of Marvel horror. Because I really like I said, Werewolf by Night is a great. I love that character, Jack Russell. And then they did a mini series with Jack Russell, the Werewolf by Night, about 6 or 7 years ago, I think, which was really good. It was dark too, man. It was like really, especially for Marvel, it was like super dark.
I'm sorry, Rob. Every time you say that, I'm trying hard not to crack up, but every time you talk about a werewolf named Jack Russell,
I know it's an intentional thing.
I can just see this tiny little werewolf jumping up at everything,
like the little dog from the Bugs Bunny cartoon. It's like, hey Spike, hey, what are we gonna do today, Spike? Hey. But yeah, I mean, I dug it overall. I thought the miniseries was good. The first issue of the regular series has come out. It wasn't as good. I'm hoping that's just a bump in the road. But yeah, if you guys pick up I definitely recommend the first three. The Dracula one, if you want to complete the story, I think it's kind of necessary to pick it up. Because you do get the rest of the story in that. But as far as the story itself is concerned, it's the weakest of the four. This is basically it's almost like the Dracula meets Frankenstein story of this book, because there's a lot of like that experimentation thing going on in it. But this story actually kind of felt like it was an excuse to shoehorn Winter Soldier in, because he shows up and he's the one who's telling this particular story, because this happens during World War II, and Bucky and Captain America are a team at this point, and so he was actually there. So, but yeah, the Ruins of Ravencroft, it was an interesting series. I thought it was pretty cool, and I think it's definitely worth a look. It's one of the books that Marvel's doing right. So, yeah, and George, guess what I got to work, man? Check it out.
What are we looking at?
Oh, your
hey!
links. There we go.
There it goes. Go ahead, George. Give us your elevator pitch, brother.
The elevator pitch. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on a sec. I got to press the up button. This is a brand new story. It's self-contained, just like the first story. It's a whole bunch of different characters. This particular story, they just ordered a pizza. They have 120 minutes before the pizza gets delivered. In that time, somebody stole the planet Earth and dropped it on the other side of the universe in the path of a supernova. They have to save the Earth and get their pizza delivery too. And they have to do this in 120 minutes. Every page in the book, and it's 120 pages, every page in the book represents 1 minute of reading. So, and not only is this book going to have multiple narratives, just like the first book, they'll have a non-linear book, a non-linear story. I have a linear story, non-linear story with a particular character jumping back and forth through time. You'll have a visual narrative where there's visual cues that you have to puzzle together. And of course, it's going to have the old gags that you would reference in society. Clever gags that you may not be aware of. I'll give you a little index at the back. But this is an exciting story, and the closest I can describe the story is the Blues Brothers, John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd meets the Wrath of Khan.
Cool. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So
and
let me get
and
the,
and in this particular book, there's a reward for the actual ship that you see. If you scroll back up a little.
1 second. You can actually get a 3D model of it.
You're gonna get a physical model of that ship.
Cool.
It will be available. And also oversized trading cards, 8.5 by 11 trading cards of these cards here, these character cards, and more. As more people support the project, the more oversized cards will be available, along with the standard normal trading cards. The last campaign had 18 trading cards. I'm hoping to match the same number of standard trading cards, and maybe hopefully even match the oversized cards to the number of trading cards done by the little guys.
Awesome. Cool
But
deal.
you have to sign up. You have to sign up because only the people who sign up right now will get the discounts.
Cool.
You'll get the discounts for the trading cards. You'll get the discount for the figurine, the ship figurine. You'll get the discount for the book 1, second printing, or book 2, first printing, or packaged together, book 1 and 2 if you missed the first campaign. But you'll get a good discount if you sign up for it now, before the campaign launches.
All righty. And I dropped the link in there, so anybody who watches the show later, the link is in the chat. So I'll also put that in the description.
And to make it even more exciting, I have a poster available. A poster that makes a homage to the first Star Trek movie poster. The very, very first. What do we call it? The Star Trek the motion picture?
Yep.
Star Trek the motion picture poster. It was fun putting it together. And let me see if I can share my okay, I'm gonna share my screen. Let's see, share screen. Share.
Cool.
Okay, so what you're seeing here is boom.
Wow.
Nice. Cool deal, man. All right.
And not only that, if you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see a 50-second cartoon that leads up to this particular scene.
Cool
right before this poster it captures the moment. There's a 50-second animation that leads up to it.
Awesome.
I'm hitting everything on that I can possibly do. You don't like what they did with Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who? You know what? I'm gonna satire the heck out of them. I'm gonna satire the corporation. I'm gonna satire the productions, and I'm gonna bring a whole lot of unique humor to this project.
Cool. Awesome, man. Okay. Go ahead and drop the links in there. I'll get that up there. That is it, folks. We are done. So appreciate everybody that came on today. George, Tom, everybody that was stopping to watch SpongeBob. Thanks for the sub, brother. Yule, thanks for stopping in. And we will see you guys next week. I gotta go play some Dungeons and Dragons.
What? Dungeons and Dragons, did you say?
Yes, I am.
Are you talking about vintage?
No, we're playing 5th edition. It's a lot easier. We're doing it over the internet, man. So like it's a lot easier to do over the internet. But AD&D and 3.5, those are my favorites. But 5 is really good for doing over the internet. So anybody who's interested in that, you can go check us out over at on Chester's channel. But yep, until next week, guys. I'll see you. See you then. Take care.
See you later.
Bye-bye.